So today I'm cooking Sunday lunch, and I've decided over the next 28 days I'm going to set myself a goal and try and lose a bit of weight and get in really good shape, like a lot of people on lockdown. I'm not going to be draconian about it, just lots of exercise, and I'm not going to go vegetarian or anything like that. But what I'm going to do is try and make the dishes I cook a little bit less or lower in carbs and stuff like that. So I'm cooking Sunday lunch today. I've got an unreal core ingredient here, which is this. This is the Chateaubriand, or the center cut, or the top cut of the fillet of a piece of 30-day aged, phenomenal Hereford Cross English beef. Absolutely stunning. I don't normally get to cook pieces like this, but my dear company, DeerBox, DeerBox.co.uk, we're now working with our butchers who process all our venison for us to make use of some of the amazing 28 to 35 day dry aged beef that they had allocated for top restaurants in London, etc. Obviously those are all closed, so we're going to help push some of it through DeerBox alongside your beautiful venison. So today we've got this stunning piece of beef. It's going to be amazing. Now I'm going to cook this very carefully because it's so easy to completely screw up a beautiful piece of meat like a fillet of beef. Now, hasten to add, do exactly this same recipe with a fillet of venison, which is what I would normally be cooking. But we're in Britain, roast beef, very, very traditional. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to season the outside of this to start with. And I've got some of my Traeger rub. This is beef rub, and it's a really good all-round seasoning mix. I'm going to put some into my pestle and mortar, together with a decent amount of black pepper, because, you know, cracked black pepper, like peppered beef, it's going to be phenomenal. There we are, loads of pepper. I'm going to put a little bit of garlic salt in here. Some mixed herbs. There we go. And even though I've got some paprika in the Traeger rug, I'll add a little more. And that is going to make a very, very nice little rub. Now, I will just grind it all up together to make sure that everything is amalgamated and it's even. Lovely, lovely start. So if you come down onto this fillet of beef, let me move this so it's in the light. The bacon is for later. Here I got some mustard. I got some whole grain mustard. You could use American mustard, you could use anything you like. I'm going to put a teaspoon of that on there. Hands are clean. I'm going to rub this beautiful fillet in mustard. Love roast beef with mustard on it. It just tastes amazing. Like so. Great. And now I'm going to use this to marinate it. Ends as well. I'm going to plonk it into my old bread caddy, and I'm going to get the seasoning all over it. Oh yeah. This is honestly going to taste phenomenal. That's lovely. Now, you notice earlier on it was bound and tied up. That's because it's the thick end of the beef fillet. I just don't want the string on there. I've taken it off. It won't hurt it. There we are. And I'm going to let that now marinate with that spice on it for about half an hour. And then it's going to go with my butternut squash into my outdoor cooking apparatus. Because even though it's drizzling, I'm going to cook outdoors. It's much more fun. So in half an hour, we'll put that in the oven. Now I'm going to make an onion gravy to go with this. Now normally I do half a bottle of red wine. I do all that. I'm just not going to use red wine. Try not to drink for a month as well. Just real cleanse. But it doesn't mean we can't have decadent food in our life, and that's what I'm going to do. So I've got 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, and I've just smacked them with a knife, and those are going to help flavour the oil. There's just about a tablespoon and a half of olive oil, extra virgin. I'm throwing some thyme I'd literally just picked in the garden in there. Look, gorgeous. That's lovely. Now onions, 2 onions, just sliced. And I'm going to cook these in this pan with the garlic for a good 45 minutes while everything else is cooking. Just once you've got some colour on them, turn the heat in the pan down let them just caramelize, let them color. I want them at sort of onion soup color, so I want them dark brown. It takes a good 45 minutes to do that. But they're going to add the basic, they're going to add the oomph for my onion gravy. And then I'm also going to add later on some of this black garlic. Black garlic's amazing, kind of fermented garlic, and crazy stuff really, but it's pure umami. It's like Marmite, literally. Kind of smells like Marmite. And I'm going to finally chop up and I'm going to add to my onion gravy black garlic, and that will add real depth to it without me adding red wine and stuff like that. Okie dokie. Now, instead of potatoes, normally we do roast potatoes and Yorkshire puddings. It breaks my heart not to eat roast potatoes and Yorkshire puddings. Got to stick with the programme. So what I've got is some of these stunning butternut squash. I did have a load of Japanese pumpkins from my garden, but we've eaten them all. And I'm going to just put, again, just like a little bit of olive oil, not the gallons I'd normally use, and I'll rub it all over the squash so the cut faces of these butternut squash are covered, and that will help them go coloured. I'm sitting them upright in my roasting dish so that they will colour up a treat. And then we're just going to season them, and I'm just going to put some rosemary in there for flavour. I might put some more cloves of garlic in while I'm at it. There we go. I'm going to just, let's crush this garlic. So, knife flat, pointing slightly downwards. Boom. And the garlic will just infuse and scent the butternut squash. Beautiful. Okay, and then some fresh thyme. Again, just sprinkled over it. Now, I'm going to cook these fairly quickly and hard in my little uni oven, which I fired up. And this is my little wood-fired uni, and I've run out of charcoal, which I normally use, so I'm quite literally just using little chunks of wood that I've split up, and that's very simple. Let's season this up really well. And then a good sprinklage of sea salt. It's as pretty as a picture. Okay, so we're going to go and put the beef and this in to cook. Outside in the drizzle. Turn that down to about temperature 6, lovely. Let's go. Lovely. So my little uni is running nice and hot, not crazy hot, and we're just going to slide this straight in. Put as far back as I can, and I'll just rotate it around. I'll keep putting little lumps of wood in. I would imagine it's running at about 200 to 240 degrees, so it'll take about 45 minutes, and they'll go all dark and caramelized, maybe even a little bit burnt on the edges, but they'll be sweet and amazing and delicious. Traeger, so it's set at 75 degrees centigrade. I'm actually going to get it up a little bit from that. I'm going to put it on 100. Here we are, click. That'll be up at 100 in no time. This is using the mesquite wood chippings, so quite a lot of flavour. Here we go, beautiful. On goes our fillet. There we are. That is in there for the express purpose of bringing the internal temperature of the meat up. I don't want it to get coloured in the Traeger. I want the smokiness to penetrate the meat. I want it to be amazing and delicious, but I want the meat to very, very gently change from a raw texture to a cooked texture. And I'm going to leave it in there for about 40 minutes, same as those. And then I'll take it out, test it. Hopefully the meat's at about 55 degrees in the middle. And then what we'll do is let it rest so it's all perfect. And now I'm going to fire it just before we serve through the uni, very, very hot, to get all that incredible colour on the outside, and do a reverse sear, but in a wood-fired oven rather than on direct heat. Should be amazing. And in the meanwhile, we're going to do a gorgeous cabbage side dish to go with it, which is a mixture of spring greens and 2 different cabbages, what I had in the vegetable box, tossed in a pan with a little bit of olive oil, just salt, pepper, maybe a dibble of butter just to finish it off. Very simple, very delicious. Great, now I've got my onions, and you can see if you look in here, they're gorgeous, they're sweet and they're caramelized, and the garlic, because I haven't peeled the garlic, it hasn't burnt, it's just softened, and I'm going to throw them in here. Lovely. And while that middle pan's hot, I'm going to throw a little bit of bacon. Now I've cut this smoked bacon really nice and fine to compensate for the fact there's not very much of it. And then here is my black garlic I'm adding into the onions for umami. It's such a tasty gravy, it's not even funny. Oh, right. I'm going to put a tin of consommé. Now, what's consommé? Consommé is like clarified beef stock, and it's utterly delicious. And I'm going to add that in. You get this in the shops. And then also, I have in the fridge my gorgeous finishing jus for beef. Now, this is proper lovely jellified beef, reduced beef stock. Look, stunning. And it will add phenomenal oomph, if I can get it out, into this. There it is. Right, we're going to let that cook. We're going to simmer, and then I can thicken it down the line, season it, finish it, and that is going to be one tasty deal. I'm going to take my little bits of garlic out now, and I'll throw them in for the cabbage because I can reuse them. Lovely, lovely, tasty, tasty. Now, a few people have asked about our knives that we're using. These are some knives I've had made for me, my great friend Steve at Flint and Flame, who make my hunting knife, made me these chef's knives, and they're awesome, non-slip handle. I love them because I can take them out when I'm camping in the woods or cooking. Very, very good knives. Nice, big, proper, strong chef's knives, and they've got them in various shapes and sizes, and they're brilliant. So that's my little boning knife, and then I've got my Japanese bladed knife that I made myself. I bought the blade and I used a piece of axis deer antler for the handle, and I like this knife, it's very ergonomic. But it's got a very delicate fine blade, so I really, for general vegetable chopping and things like that, I just love this thing. It takes a great edge, it's got a lovely feel to it. Great knives. Oh, hello. Look at those. This little oven's amazing. So these are roasting up a treat. I'm just going to make sure they're on their ends so they all cook nice and evenly. But you can see we've got gorgeous colour on them. They're looking really, really lovely. So we'll just keep them going in there. It's hot, but it's not crazy hot. Just one little piece of wood like that at a time is all it takes. And I reckon that oven's running along. I'm just guessing at about 200 degrees. Here's our... You see it's lovely, it's wobbly, it's still pretty raw, that's fine. It needs another half hour. Let's just have a look at this beautiful piece of beef. Now, I've just temperature tested this beef. You can see it's taken on a stunning colour with the smoke, but it's 55 degrees centigrade in the bottom, which is double it now, 30, 140 Fahrenheit. I want it to be 60 degrees, so we're good. What I got to do is get the colour on it now, what they call reverse searing. Get it in that pan. Lots of heat, and we're going to just roll it around, and then when it's got lovely oil on it, I'm going to bash it into the Traeger for the last 10 minutes of cooking, very, very hot. So I've turned the Traeger up to 240 centigrade, hot. The wood oven that I was going to put it in, well, that's still cooking away so nicely with those butternut squash. I don't want to take them out because they need another 10 minutes too. Rest, carve. I've got my cabbage and bacon going here, looking gorgeous. Into that, I'm adding some peas from the freezer. Beautiful. Straight in the frozen there. And then at the last minute, I'll fold my spring greens through it and season it up. And that'll be just the most delicious, massive pile of tasty vegetables, flavoured with a hint of bacon. Oh yes. Some gorgeous colour on there. You can see that it's lovely and floppy, the meat. And that's the thing about cooking at a low temperature. Meat never gets tense. Okay. I'll put it up high. There we are. Last 5 minutes of cooking. I love a little random pile of butternut. So darn tasty. I'm just going to give it a sprinkling. That is good. I'll put this here so we can really see it. Okay. Now then, I'm happy. Oh, let's get some of these little garlic cloves out because they're going to be amazing. Never ever ever forget these little garlic cloves because you can squeeze them all over things and they're phenomenal. The lovely garlicky centre. A little polish on the back of the other one. Not perhaps an orthodox method of sharpening knives, but a steel's a steel and it works really well. Nice and sharp. Okay, so there's our stunning gravy. I'm going to put a couple of fat pieces of beef and then we're going to plate it up. So let's have a look. Oh, come on. So no brown ring around the outside, pink, perfect, full of juice, epic. I love the Traeger. I love it. It is an amazing machine. So it's put smoke and it's got full of flavour, but it's just kept the juice in. It's cooked at a low temperature. It could not be better. So to start, let's put some of our beautiful cabbage and peas, a little bit of bacon, some spring greens, stunning. Ooh, somebody's here. So a couple of fat, beautiful, perfectly pink pieces of fillet there. Oh. A couple of really very pretty butternuts. And then to finish it all off, I'm going to anoint it with onion and black garlic gravy. So I'm going to have a taste. This is an incredible fillet Chateaubriand of 30-day aged, dry aged beef. Okay, now there's tender and I can taste the beef, but I've got a little hint of smoke and mustard on the outside. Darn, that's good. So you can buy that beef exactly like this, same sort of thing. We do T-bones, we can do rumps, we can do anything you like, dry aged for at least 28 days, more like 36 days. By our butchers. You can buy it with with our DeerBoxes from deerbox.co.uk. We've also got dry aged wild fallow deer venison from our own ground, and we've got our normal beautiful 10-day aged venison. Whole different selection of cuts come in a fantastic box, deerbox.co.uk. If you want to try, like me, to being a tiny bit healthier during lockdown, then please try this. It's a great little recipe. Butternut squash instead of potato, as little oil and grease as I can get away with, loads of veg, beautiful pink meat, couldn't be better.